James Van Der Beek just passed away. Okay, and for some of you guys, if you don't know who he is, for me, everybody goes to different movies. Where do you go with him, by the way? Where do you go with him when you think about him?
Varsity Blues.
You go to Varsity Blues? Where do you go?
Dude.
Varsity Blues?
I don't want
Jake,
your laugh.
Where do you go, Rob?
Incredible.
I go to one. Do you ever watch any of this stuff or no?
Dawson's Creek.
Okay, so listen, let me tell you guys about Dawson's Creek.
Rob, tell me you're into men without telling me.
I honestly don't want to wait for our lives to be over.
I don't want to wait.
That was the song. FYI, you know what's crazy? I'm going to share this with you guys. Please don't share with anybody. And let's just keep it in this community. I don't want anybody to know this. When I was in the Army, me and these 6-7 guys from our unit, we knew a couple things. In our barracks, there's 2 things we wouldn't miss. When Sosa and McGuire were playing, we'd be in that room watching the games. Or Tuesday nights, they changed it to Wednesday, but for many years it was Tuesday night, Dawson's Creek. And we would sit there and watch this guy. It was the sickest show, but we had one code. We cannot tell anybody we watched Dawson's Creek. Okay? It's one of the things. You can brag about watching Melrose Place, maybe even a little bit Beverly Hills 90210. You can't tell people you watch Dawson's Creek and you're in a military uniform, all this other stuff. But it was an awesome show. The best part about him is this one clip I shared where he experiences God as he's going through his. It's such a beautiful, beautiful message to finish the podcast on. Go ahead, Rob.
Today's my birthday, and it has been the hardest year of my life, and I wanted to share something that I learned with y'all. When I was younger, I used to define myself as an actor, right? Which was never really all that fulfilling. And then I became a husband, and that was much better. And then I became a father, and that was the ultimate. I could define myself then as a loving, capable, strong, supportive husband, father, provider, steward of the land that we're so lucky to live on. And for a long time, that felt like a really good definition to the question, you know, who am I? What am I? And then this year, I had to look my own mortality in the eye. I had to come nose to nose with death. And all of those definitions that I cared so deeply about were stripped from me. I was away for treatment, so I could no longer be a husband that was helpful to my wife. I could no longer be a father who could pick up his kids and put them to bed and be there for them. I could not be a provider because I wasn't working. I couldn't even be a steward of the land because at times I was too weak to prune all the trees during the window that you're supposed to prune them. And so I was faced with the question, if I am just a too skinny, weak guy alone in an apartment with cancer, what am I? And I meditated and the answer came through, I am worthy of God's love.
Wow.
Simply because I exist. And if I'm worthy of God's love, shouldn't I also be worthy of my own? And the same is true for you. And as I move through this healing portal toward recovery, I wanted to share that with you because I think that revelation that came to me was due in no small part to all the prayers and the love that have been directed toward me. So I offer that to you, however it sits in your consciousness, however it resonates, run with it. And if the word God trips you up, I certainly don't know, I can't claim to know what God is or explain God. My efforts to connect to God are an ongoing process that is a constant unfolding mystery to me. But if it's a trigger, it feels too religious, you can take the word God out and your mantra can simply be, I am worthy of love.
Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing?
Wow.
And then, boom, he passed away 2 days ago when you see that message.
Do you see, look in his eyes and tell me that faith. He has faith and zero fear. Said death is nose to nose with him, and I didn't see any fear in him because he has God. If that doesn't tell you everything that we're about, I'm sorry.
I love you, Vinny, and I appreciate that, man. So for me, all these actors that die, we remember, like for you it was Dawson's Creek. For me, it was Varsity Blues and it doesn't come close. You know, we're seeing these actors die, and we say, man, I remember Dustin Diamond died. That was Screech from Saved by the Bell. I used to wake up in the morning and I feel it. You remember that song? And then Paul Walker died. He was also in the movie with Varsity Blues. He was the quarterback that Foxy Moxie, James Van Der Beek, took his place. Man, I used to hang out with that guy in Miami. Wow, good-looking guy, stud of a guy. Died driving a car. Fast and man, I knew him. Chadwick Boseman died, right? Wakanda Forever. And you're like, dude, what is happening right now? But this is a part of life. But I'll tell you one story. In 1999, when Varsity Blues came out, I was playing football at the time. I was playing football in North Carolina at the time. Our whole team went to go see that movie. And you talk about the Army and the camaraderie. Go take your entire football team to go watch Varsity Blues. Like, remember when we took the entire company to go watch Air? We're like, all right, we're going to go change the world. Movies, you know, I'm not a big movie guy. Movies, they used to be able to galvanize people and change the world. And they used to be original. Now the movies aren't what they used to be. But here's a guy that has made such a huge impact from one movie. And look at the impact that he's made in this world with his family. Look at this, his family right here.
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable. So here you have, obviously, a grieving mother and beautiful kids, beautiful blonde babies. And salute to James Van Der Beek for everything you've done for America and for our culture and for society.
4 daughters, 2 sons, husband and wife, widow Kimberly Brook. He was raised a Christian, born a Christian, and may you rest in peace. Tom, your thoughts here?
You know, we all owe this world one death. And it's easy when you're young and strong to kind of create your own God and to create your own confidence and to live according to that and to doubt everything else. But it's an amazing thing of the human condition that when we're faced with our mortality, we are all capable of self-reflection if we'll let our bold, flawed human self get out of the way. And that's what you saw there. You saw a guy that was reflecting on who he was, reflecting on his value, and we're all worthy of God's love. And it's a God that sent his son that loved us so much that all of our flaws on earth, that all of our flaws as humans, he wants to forgive that and to give you the gateway to eternal life and peace. And I'm really inspired by the reflection that I saw in the words that he gave. And I think you can slow down. You can slow down and meditate and think about who you are in this life and let your human self get out of the way for a minute and just think about what you just saw and say, what are the choices I'm making today? And there's a God that loves me so much in my sin and everything who I am today. You don't need to wait till you have cancer to kind of reflect on that and to live a life of true value and peace and encouragement to others. And I pray for his family. What a beautiful family. What a just a gorgeous, reflection there. And you look at the reflection of who he was. Look at his family. There's the reflection.
Very interesting how
he was
they
a
met.
wonderful, wonderful father. Look at them.
Yeah, I'm going back to see how they met. They met on a trip to Israel in 2009. Neither are Jewish, by the way. They had such a spiritual experience, personal growth experience, that they ended up getting married there in 2010 in Tel Aviv. Partly because that's where they met. They got married in Tel Aviv. Neither's Jewish. So I said, maybe she's probably Jewish. No. You can tell, for somebody who want to get married at a place like that and you're raised a Christian, and very interesting. But all in all, super likable, man. You just hate to hear stories like this, a young man being where they're at. And it makes all of us, you're 47 years old, you get to a certain age in your life where you start realizing how important of a role faith plays. And I always say this to everybody. I told this to Adam for many, many years. I would tell him this, and I would say to anyone around me, whatever you're doing this weekend, my suggestion, go to church. Go to church this Sunday. Go to service this Sunday. Especially for some of you guys that haven't been in a while. And maybe you're battling with your faith and things that didn't go right. You lost somebody, your relationship, a bad breakup, finance, career, bad experience back in the days when you were a kid. Something happened with a church, with a pastor, with a priest. whatever may be. I was told a long time ago when I would go to Bible study in 2002, Friday nights, I would be in, every other Friday night, I would be in Pasadena from 6 p.m. to 2 o'clock in the morning. If you judge your relationship with God horizontally, you'll always be disappointed. But if you judge your relationship with God vertically, you'll be fine. So your bad experience spiritually is probably horizontal. On somebody else let you down, they did something to you that hurt you. You won't be disappointed vertically. It's been my experience. I can't believe the life I live every day. I'm so grateful for it. Anyways, I didn't even know we were going to finish the story on this. Last minute, I decided to do this because his message he gave was so touching, was so amazing, and I hope it touched the right people as well.
A new Faith Over Fear hat is coming soon to a theater near you, but I just wanted to say, this morning I was listening to Billy Graham, which, Pat, you told me to listen to him. You're like, Vinny, dive in and listen to him. So I'm getting ready in the morning. I'm just listening to Billy Graham, and he said something that I hadn't heard in a while, and it was the Apostle Thomas. When Jesus rose from the dead, Thomas wasn't there to see the resurrection. So Thomas goes, I'll believe that he rose if I get to put my hands in his wounds and in his side. So then he finally sees Jesus, and he goes in there. He goes, God, Thomas, God, put your hands in here. And Jesus looks at him and goes, because you have seen me, you believe. Blessed of those who haven't seen me and still believe. And in that moment, Tom, it hit me. He's talking about us. Okay, we weren't there. We didn't see Jesus walk. We didn't see him die. We didn't see him rise from the dead, but we believe, and that is faith in real time. And he's talking about us. And the last one, you mentioned the story about the Nigeria that we're sending 200 troops. Trump is sending 200 troops. They're saying they're not going to do anything crazy, but think about that. Think about the priests. Think about the parishioners in those churches that were bombed and murdered and slaughtered, and they were in that church praying and saying, please help. That is faith over fear in real time. And that's what we're about. And that's what the brand is about. And I can't tell you how many people see me with the shirt, because the shirt's on the back, and just tap me on the back and go, I'm with you. Or they see this hat and they go, where can I get that hat? So you can go on vtmerch.com, get the hat. We have the hoodies. We have Here Am I, Send Me, which is Isaiah chapter 6, verse 8 as well. But yeah, just go to vtmerch.com and pick it up.
If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.